It is not about wealth, but it's how you use it. And that's what's important. And that's going to make us have a better society. And I think that was a driving force in getting me to become a social worker. Well, my relationship with clothing is really rather funny because I don't enjoy shopping and I'm not a clothes horse, but I view clothing as a basic need. And so my personal relationship with clothing is perhaps disappointing because I am not that interested in the latest fashions, but I am interested in making sure that people can be properly clothed and have that basic need met. I grew up in Toronto. It was a family culture that my grandfather had been a Navy chaplain and ministered to sailors in both World Wars. My grandmother had been involved in the church. My mother was a volunteer in many different social service agencies. My father also volunteered. So it was something that I was familiar with, something that everybody did in our family. And I just followed along. I worked in child welfare, and then I worked in hospital social work. And I also worked for 20 years at the Toronto School Board as a school social worker. And I think that was where the light bulb went off, and seeing how many families were struggling, how difficult it was living in poverty. They couldn't really help their children with schoolwork or look for a job for themselves because they were struggling so hard just to pay the rent and pay their bills. And that was really the beginning of New Circles. Glow is our clothing program, and it's an integral part of New Circles. I'd call it the center of the circle. Clothing is a basic need and a basic right. The United Nations, they have clothing as one of the basic rights of all individuals. And clothing's expensive. If you're on limited income, it's very difficult to clothe your family. And so this was a way to help people clothe their families in a respectful way. And so we modeled this as a store. There's racks of clothing, there's change rooms, and they check out. The only difference is that they aren't paying any money. Well, I've been fortunate that I've been able to straddle two worlds, that I work as a social worker. I'm very familiar with people that perhaps are struggling right now or are new to Canada. And I also am familiar with the philanthropic side. And I think that's an advantage I have. People are willing to hear what I'm saying about what goes on here and are willing to jump in and get involved. If someone wants to do something similar to what I did, I would recommend that it be something you're passionate about, something that you believe in strongly, that you're willing to put in the hard work, and that you're willing to risk, because it might not work out. I didn't know when I began New Circles that it would be successful. I was really just taking a day at a time. And I look back and think, wow, it's been 18 years. And that's the kind of society I'd like us to see, where it's not so me-focused, but that we're other-focused, and that we want to contribute and make a difference to everybody that we care about in our community, our families, our schools, our workplaces. I'm proud of the legacy, and I'm also confident that that legacy can live on without me. That it's not about me, that it's about the organization, it's about our values, it's about our service model, is that I know it will go on, that it's not dependent on just one person. In fact, it never has been. It's been dependent on many people. Motto of the circle. It keeps going around, and I'm just perhaps the cog in the circle, or I was. But now it certainly has a life of its own, and I feel very confident that New Circles can go on without me.